Hold up.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It is FoxyDude98 here, and welcome back to my brand new F1 2017 career mode here with my Force India. Today, as you can see, we are here at the Bahrain Grand Prix, and Chris has got some information for us, and he's going to give it to us now. As you can see here, we have got a new aerodynamic piece, which is a front wing main plane, which is obviously going to help with the front of the car to help getting that better turn-in. If you guys do enjoy today's video, don't forget to drop it a like. That'd be absolutely awesome. Subscribe if you're not yet subscribed already. The support for the F1 2017 videos that I've brought out at the moment have been absolutely amazing, and I can't thank you guys enough for being so supportive. But as you can see, we got an aerodynamic piece going because, as you can see, we are the third worst team in the aerodynamic department, and that's where I'm going to be focusing a lot of my upgrades. In fact, probably a lot of my upgrades on. And as you can see, I'm just doing a lot of work here, having a look at the R&D developments and seeing what I can do and if there is anything that I will do. So, yeah, we're going to just keep on rolling through, and I do this at the start of all my episodes, and as you can see there, nothing else really to look at. The upgrades came through fine, no problems, which is absolutely amazing, and we can get started here for the Bahrain Grand Prix. First of all, we're going to move into the track acclimatization test, and this was a very, very easy test for myself. Just the one green, which you saw there, the rest of the lap was purple. So, at least we know how to get around this track, and we go and set a very decent lap there, obviously with all of the purples in that test. The fuel saving test, sorry. You guys have been giving me a lot of tips, and I want to thank every single one of you for helping me out with some tips. Basically, my big problem was trying to get the lap time sorted. I was able to do the lifting and coasting and the short shifting, but it was the lap time that was my problem. But eventually, I got the hang of the lift and coast, and I also got a hang of the shifting, the short shifting, and it worked off. So thank you ever so much for all those that gave out the support there on trying to help with that test, and it worked very well for us. Nearly a purple, but only a green. Into the tyre wear test, we actually did this in practice 2 because I did the fuel saving and the track acclimatization in practice 1. And I left the rest of the stuff for practice 2 because these are going to be conditions for the race. So I want to get a good idea of what the race conditions are going to be like. So with the tyre wear test, we failed the first time around. I believe our lap time was not strong enough. So the second time around we went and did it on a quicker lap time, and we got a purple. Then for the qualifying run, as you saw there, we managed to get a purple lap time there, which is very, very good for us. Then, as you can see here, for the race strategy, we are on our final lap, and unfortunately Kimi Raikkonen kind of decided he wanted to be a bit of a pain in the backside and tried to go and attack me on my practice program, but I couldn't lift off because, of course, I'm trying to beat the lap time delta here, and we come across the line. But as you can see there, in the bottom right-hand corner, my engine is yellow, and my ICE, which is the internal combustion engine, has now passed 50%, which now means it is worn, and it's going to soon need to start getting replaced. So, not very good news at all in terms of reliability for the car. But I'm going to be going on a pathway of just zero management, take the engine hits, and then, you know, just going on from there. So that's where I'm going to be going with it. You guys, if you're good at managing the engine and you know how to, keep it going. But for me, I'm going to be working strongly on getting the car, basically to be OP in most races. But as you can see there, to stop the ICE from wearing out too much, I actually went and purchased a durability upgrade, which is going to help with the ICE wear and lower it by 30%. So hopefully, now that we put that upgrade on the car, or the durability upgrade, it would allow the ICE to wear down a little less, and we can continue to use it for the rest of the season with little problems. And as you can see, I'm going around and I'm just having a look at what I can do. I've got 700 resource points, so I can spend some. And I decided to go to the aerodynamic department, and I believe I do this one. Yes, this the wind tunnel quality control 1. Now, what are those little mini side pods? Basically, the one that I purchased, it means that the upgrade has a less chance of actually failing. Now, as you know, your upgrades can actually fail. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure they didn't fail. So for this instance, I actually went and made sure that it had a 7.5% chance of less failure, because the aerodynamics is where I really need the upgrades to come in as quick as possible. I didn't want any problems. So into Q1 then we go, and you can see that we're here for our first flying lap here, into the last corner in fact now, and coming across towards the start finish line now here, opening up the DRS, and as you can see, open it up, and we set a 130.9, which is an okay lap. It's definitely nothing special, and we are probably going to have to go out again for another run. And we do just that. Unfortunately, we are in P15 at the moment, which is a long way down the order, and I was worried that anyone else could potentially jump me So in order to avoid that and then avoid anyone putting in a super lap to knock me out of Q1, I decided to go out and do just one more run, and we go up into P10 there, which is a very decent lap indeed, and I'm happy with that one, and that is qualifying complete for Q1. And in fact, it does drop us down to P13 afterwards, because of course the likes of Verstappen and others did go quicker than myself, and P13 is where we are, clear of the drop zone by only a tenth of a second. So actually, we weren't that far off from being knocked out in Q1, despite that improved lap, so luckily we did do it. Into Q2 we go now. Now, as you can see here, I'm actually qualifying on the soft tyres. Now, I do not intend on starting on these soft tyres. What I've noticed in this qualifying, in general, is come the end of the session, the car and the track evolution is pretty strong. So as you can see here, just to prove that I am not starting on the soft tyres, I'm going to go put on a set of the super soft tyres. It's because I did 2 runs in Q1, I can't afford to do another 2 in Q2, so I decided to just use a set of the soft tyres because I'm not really going to be using them. However, my Q2 lap was horribly ruined here. Magnussen coming out of the pits, completely blocking me on the apex there. Huge snap of oversteer into turn 3. Even though we're up on our delta, we lost so much time from that, easily about half a second from that. And then the end of the lap, Danny Kvyat actually also gets in the way as well. And I had to brake early to avoid not going to the back of him. And he held me up all the way through the end of the middle sector and the final sector. Now, for some reason, we got a purple in the final sector, but it wasn't enough. We got absolutely thrashed in Q2. Ocon makes it through, but we qualify all the way down in P15. And unfortunately, the traffic has just been an absolute pain there. And it's cost us horribly, and it means that we will not be qualifying in the top 10 shootout, which I was so angry about, seeing Magnussen just parking his car on the apex and then Kvyat holding me up halfway through my lap. I could have easily found another 8, 9 tenths from that lap, not even joking. But anyway, it is what it is. That is racing. We're going to listen to the session objectives now from Emma, which he is going to give to us, and then we're going to move on straight into the Grand Prix. So they want us to finish 11th, be 9th in the championship, and beat Esteban Ocon. Let's get into the race.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, edging out Raikkonen, who'll start P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Verstappen, Valtteri Bottas, and Massa, Ricciardo, Stroll, Ocon, and Kevin Magnussen, Kvyat, Grosjean, Nico Hülkenberg, and Palmer, a Force India, Sainz, Marcus Ericsson, and Pascal Wehrlein. Van Dorn and Fernando Alonso starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Then guys, as you can see, we are here for the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix. We're going to be doing a 2-stop strategy. We're going to be starting on a set of the super soft tyres, then moving to a set of soft tyres, and then doing a second pit stop for another set of soft tyres. The 3-stop strategy is 3 sets of super softs and a set of soft tyres, but for me, was not feeling that strategy, and as you can see here, I'm just having a deep look at the strategy. Eventually then, I was actually idle for a while. I think I went away, so I kind of skipped it, but I actually overfueled the car because it initially underfueled me, but I wasn't feeling that at all. So as you can see then, we have to wait, unfortunately, for a long time before the rest of the field goes across through. And yeah, unfortunately, obviously starting down in P15 is not where I wanted to be. I probably could have qualified a little higher, but nonetheless, we're going to have to do the work on track. And obviously, qualifying's been a bit of a meh for me this season, and I've basically made up all my time in the race. So we're just going to hopefully get a strong race in here. But as you can see, we're on the grid here for this Bahrain Grand Prix. We've got 5 red lights here, and it is lights out, and we go here for the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's been an okay-ish start from us, a little bit of wheel spin as we do across the line there, but we've actually got a great start here now, attacking Romain Grosjean, but unfortunately we've been boxed in early into turn 1, so we're going to have to brake nice and early and just be nice and calm and gentle here, not make any silly moves as we now make our way towards turn 1 here. There's been a bit of contact. That's my teammate Ocon going off there. I was brake checked by Hülkenberg and Grosjean, but Ocon has hit someone and he's gone spinning into turn 2, so it's already a horrible start for my teammate Esteban. Now we need to make up some places, and I'm like, right, I'm going to have to make some places now because Ocon is not going to get any points, potentially anyway, in this day, but he's gone and make some contact there. We make a triple overtake in towards turn 4, and now we need to set our sights on Kevin Magnussen in the Haas. But drama already at the start for the Force India team as Ocon goes spinning out. I think I just saw it in the front. He seemed to have cut turn 2, so I think they were going 3 wide, and that was just never going to work for him. But as you can see now, onto lap 2 of the Grand Prix, and Kevin Magnussen is slipstreaming. I believe it might be one of the Red Bulls. I could be wrong, but as you can see here, down towards turn 1, we're going to overtake Magnussen, and it's Palmer going and attacking Stroll here, and Stroll's compromised himself into turn 2, and we're going to go round the outside of Stroll in towards turn 3 and making a charge up towards turn 4. That's a great move there on Lance Stroll, doing a cheeky little switchback as he was caught unawares after his attack by Jolyon Palmer. So Palmer actually doing work in this career mode, which is weird because he can't do it in real life, although in the Belgian Grand Prix, in fairness, he did do a great job until his gearbox problem. On to lap 8 of the Grand Prix now, kind of a really stale start to proceedings, but we're going to be coming in for our first pit stop. The other teams and other drivers pitted a little bit earlier than me, which kind of made me think, were they going to do the 3 stop? But I'm going to be doing the bog standard 2 stop, as I was initially suggested to do. And as you can see, Palmer is also coming in as well as one of the Toro Rossos, I believe. It's Carlos Sainz, but I could be wrong. And as you can see, we're going to be making our pit stop now. But unfortunately, we've been held in the pits by by Sainz. So even though we were a long way past Sainz, it appears that we still got held up by him. And I think Ocon has actually come into the pits as well. So he might actually get held a little bit as the mechanics won't be fully ready for him. Because they never tend to be on this game. But we're coming out of the pits now. That's Palmer going past one of the Saubers and the McLaren. And we have been jumped by, I believe that's Kevin Magnussen, who we did pass earlier in the race. Of course, we made that move down the inside, the double overtake between him and Lance Stroll. Unfortunately, we've actually lost out to him now, so I'm a bit frustrated with that, but I'm just going to get my head focused and we can carry on attacking him. Moving on to lap 9 of the Grand Prix now, and we're now catching back up to Magnussen, who is actually in a bit of a train with Van Dorn, Verline and Palmer. Palmer actually rejoined behind the two of them, but Palmer's overtaken them now, so it's now up to me to get the overtakes done. So we're going to go down the inside of here, Magnussen. Not going to do a crazy overtaking dive bomb attacks. I need to take it easy in this Grand Prix. So we decide to get one move on Magnussen. Now we're going to attack Van Dorn here, who's in the slipstream of Pascal Verline, and we're going to make the move here down the inside. Verline locks up, actually. No, he doesn't lock up. I lied. But anyway, we still go down the inside of him. And yeah, we'll make that move stick on Pascal, and they both dive into the pits that lap, which now leaves the 2 Haas drivers to attack me. And this is the stage in the race where troubles start to arise for myself as we make our way in towards turn 1, and we are now looking to maybe catch Jolyon Palmer, but unfortunately, the snap of oversteer now, the exit at 2, compromising, and I'll run up towards turn 4. Having a look here, Magnussen's got a good run on us. Can he make a move perhaps? No. But problems start to rise. Lap 10 of the Grand Prix, and the power unit is wearing out pretty quickly, and that is costing me a lot of time. And in this race, reliability is coming back to bite me, and now it's really costing me here, because now Kevin Magnussen is all over the back of me here, and I'm going to go ultra defensive here to hold my position. Palmer in front. I can't catch Palmer, so I'm just going to have to hold my position here. Down the inside on Kevin Magnussen, I do defend the position. I've compromised myself in towards turn 2 and 3, but luckily I'm okay. And in towards turn 4, Magnussen's just a bit too far back to make any sort of attack on us. But yeah, it appears that my power unit is not holding up very well, and my compromise of just going full out attack mode might be coming back to bite me. But at the end of the day, I have got more power units in stock, but for the moment we have got a worn unit. And as you can see here, we've got Kevin Magnussen here. I'm going to make my defensive move, but then I switch back to the racing line. I can't make any more moves now. I've already made the 1 defensive maneuver and then the 1 preliminary maneuver to move back onto the racing line. And as you can see here, round the outside, I just get a better braking zone and a better line this time, and that's going to help here up towards turn 4 now. But Magnussen's got a much better drive this time, and as you can see here, Kevin's going to sit in the slipstream, and look how quick that Ferrari powered Haas is compared to my Mercedes-powered Force India, which of course is the most powerful car on the grid, but you can see with a worn-out down engine, that could pay dividends. But again, I don't know if people are running fresher power units or if they're running slightly worn power units. I definitely am running a worn power unit, but as you can see here, once again, I'm going to make that move, then I'm going to make my move back onto the racing line, because I suddenly seem to have realised that defending around the outside seems to work much better for us, and you can see we're getting swarmed here by the Haas cars, but down around the outside, sorry, we are going to make that move, and we are going to defend our position once more from Kevin Magnussen, frustrating the Haas driver furthermore, and Jolyon Palmer further up the road. I just can't catch Palmer at this rate. For now, it's all about holding P8 in this Grand Prix as a big train starts to form behind me. On to lap 18 of the Grand Prix now, and the Haas drivers both pitted, and as you can see there, Max Verstappen's head was not even in his car, and all of a sudden, halfway down the straight, it just popped into view, so that's kind of weird. But Magnussen's on a set, Verstappen's on a set of mediums, but I'm on a worn set of softs, but I'm taking my softs a little bit longer than everybody else in this race, and as you can see here, Verstappen's now making this move. I'm not going to to fight Verstappen because he's obviously pitted for mediums, and there is just no point in fighting him. But Verstappen locks up, double lock up into turn 1, and I do a switchback move and get back past Verstappen. So as much as I was like, alright Max, you can just go on through now, I'm not really going to fight you, he does a double lock up, and I have to do the switchback move. Then you can already see there, lap 19, a little bit of oversteer as we start to, as the tyres start screaming a little bit, down the inside here, towards the second to last corner, and onto this long back straight now. This is where Verstappen again with no head, which then pops out all of a sudden, so he's obviously got a teleporting head. You can see here that we're going to make our defensive maneuver. We're not really going to challenge him that much. Down the inside here goes Max Verstappen, but annoyingly, he's kind of in my way because I want to pit this lap. So Max, would you mind can you stop? I'm bashing into you and I need to get into the pits. And eventually we get into the pits, but Verstappen kind of annoyed me then. I was like, Verstappen, can you just go past please, because I want to pit, and I was on the outside line. Should have probably defended the inside line, but hey ho, we're coming into the pits now, and this time we're not going to get held by anyone because there's no one else in the pits, which is why I went a little bit longer just to avoid that. And I felt like maybe if Verstappen got past me, I could potentially use him as a little bit of a tow with my poor engine that's wearing down. But that didn't happen. He just decided to be an idiot and stay behind me. But there is Jolyon Palmer. That's Romain Grosjean. So I think Grosjean pitted a little earlier, and we've actually come out in front of Magnussen, who's on a set of medium. So everyone's doing super soft, soft, medium, whereas I'm doing super soft, soft, soft. So for this stage of the race, this is actually going to help me quite a bit now, because I may have, and as you can see there, lap 20, there are my elements, the internal combustion engine, the MGUH, the TC, and also the gearbox. I've forgotten about the TC, I'm about to say it, and I'll say it in a minute, but it's fine. And the gearbox are all wearing down, which is kind of getting a little bit awkward there. This is the controlled electrics, by the way, I've just remembered it now. So they're all now about 60% and 50%, but the one that I'm worried about the most is actually the gearbox, because that's on 50%, which means at some point we could potentially have a gearbox problem and lose a gear. Now, I don't want that at all, and I'm going to have to consider taking a grid penalty for the next race in order to avoid that, but we've got more problems. We can't think about the next race when Magnussen is still fighting us here, and he has every right to, with my engine starting to really cost me now. Big reliability problems in this Grand Prix as we still battle for P9. Back end sliding here as we just literally are pushing really hard now. Lean fuel mixture. Can Kevin Magnussen go for a move here? His head suddenly pops out of nowhere again because we've got disappearing heads in this race. Down the inside into turn 4, Magnussen doesn't make it stick. I give him very little room there. Lap 23 of the Grand Prix now. Magnussen is coming back for another attack on us. I think he left it a lap or so before he's come back at us, but he's coming at it again. I'm running in lean fuel mixture to save as much fuel as I can throughout the corners, but on the straights, I'm ranking this thing up into rich mix, and there is Magnussen's pop-up head again. This is actually a really weird glitch, and it's quite funny at the same time, just seeing a random head pop in towards turn 1. As you can see, I give the drivers literally no space, to the point where they can creep their nose in there, but they can't really fight it. And that's exactly what I'm going to keep on doing here. On to lap 26 of the Grand Prix now, and actually there's been a bit of chaos here, because I believe Romain Grosjean has had a problem, and that's cost him a position. We're up into P9, but Massa has now overtaken Magnussen, and now he's wanting to fight us back. So as you can see here, Massa with a straight line split. Williams is so much faster in a straight line compared to Magnussen, but what I do is I'm going to force Massa very tight to the inside of turn 1, and as you can see, I'm going to loop round the outside. And I've been discovering all race long that defending that position, it's actually easier to defend around the outside. Now, a lot of people complain, why defending on the inside? And there, in fact, is Romain Grosjean. So I kind of actually made a bit of a lie. It wasn't just then, it was now. So Grosjean has had that problem, like I accidentally spoilt, and now we're up at the P8. But we can easily score no points here, but I'm going to do the same tactic again. I'm going to force the driver as tight into 1 as I possibly can. Massa clearly gets the move back onto the racing line. Massa doesn't move inside. He's got a super tight line into 1, and that really helps me out, and I found that all race long. Forcing the driver wide really does benefit me. You can see, look at my engine components. They're pretty worn out right now, so yeah, thank God we might not be using them again. On to lap 29 of the Grand Prix now. Last lap to go here. We're having to defend even more from Massa as we go down the inside into the final corner. Hand comes up in frustration there, probably just waving at Massa saying you're not coming through, as we come across the line there for what is P8 for this Bahrain Grand Prix. Lots of action, lots of defending, big reliability problems, but overall a great race because we managed to score points after qualifying in P15. So it's quite clear to see that the qualifying is just not up to scratch yet for this Force India car, but my race pace is just so much better, and I'm pretty happy with that one. So there it is, guys. That is the Bahrain Grand Prix. Overall then, we were definitely a lot easier on the tyres. We were able to make the tyres work a lot better than everybody else, but the power unit was the big problem. That was a major problem. The power unit wearing out. But the biggest problem, I think, is the gearbox. Now, if you guys don't know, if your gearbox goes over 50%, you are likely to have gearbox issues, e.g. you will lose a specific gear. So I'm going to have to take that into consideration and potentially swap out the gearbox for the next race, which will give me a 5-place grid penalty because I haven't used it for 6 races. It's only been in the car for 3, and it's already caused me problems. But at the end of the day, big reliability problems, but at the end of the day, points are points, and we need all of those going into with this Force Indian car. And like I said, whilst this car is not a championship winning car, I'm just going to take the grid penalties. I'm going to take this. I'm going to keep having fresh components on my car because that will hopefully make me quick, and then I can recover that in the race where I'm stronger than in qualifying. But as you can see then, it's a Ferrari 1-2 ahead of the Mercedes, is ahead of the Red Bulls. Palmer finishes in 7th, best of the rest. Then it is myself from Massa, Magnussen and Hulkenberg. My teammate Ocon recovered to P13 but failed to score points after his spin into turn 1. But you can see everyone was setting into the 32s, the 31s and the 33s behind. I was only able to set a 134. In the driver's standings then, we are in 5th in the championship, 25 points to our name, which is a very decent tally actually for the drivers' championship. Pretty happy with that, in front of Bottas and Verstappen, so still making some good roads on them. In the constructors' standings, the gap is 83 points between myself and Ferrari, which we're not challenging. Mercedes getting closer behind, but we're doing a very nice job nonetheless. Comfortably in 4th in the championship, and hopefully we can do much better in the races to come, where we've got the likes of Russia, which is normally a strong track for myself. Then we've got 2 poor tracks of mine of Spain and Monaco, which they're going to be damage limitation races for sure. Anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this Bahrain Grand Prix today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. We'll quickly have a look at the resource points here. So as you can see, we managed to pick up a couple of resource points here, 125 resource points. In the driver rivalry, we beating Ocon quite nicely, and we gained some reputation there, which is all nice to see. But guys, that's going to be it for the Bahrain Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed it, drop a like, subscribe if you're new around here as well, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Russian Grand Prix. Take care all, guys. Thanks for watching.